If you're over 60 and you walk every day, you're doing something good. Walking strengthens your heart. It lifts your mood. And if you've been consistent, you deserve credit for that. But here's the truth most people don't know. Walking alone won't keep you safe from falls. And I know that sounds surprising, because we've all been told walking is the best thing for balance. But the science tells a very different story. Here's why. Most falls don't happen while you're walking forward on flat ground. They happen when you step to the side, when you reach up for something and your body shifts, when you turn your head quickly and your balance falters, when you step over a curb or a rug. Walking trains your legs and your heart to move forward. That's valuable. But it doesn't train the three systems your body needs to stay balanced in those real-world moments. Your inner ear, your body's sense of where your limbs are, and your ability to handle forces from the side or behind. After 60, those systems naturally start to decline. And if all you're doing is walking, you're only training one dimension of balance. The other three are quietly getting weaker. That's why someone can walk 3 miles a day, feel strong, and then fall in their own kitchen reaching for a coffee mug. So today, I'm going to show you 3 simple moves that train all 3 of those systems in less than 10 minutes. You can do them at home with just a chair. And these moves will give your body the kind of balance training that walking simply can't provide. Let's get started. Let me explain exactly what walking doesn't train and why that matters. Your body has 3 systems that work together to keep you balanced. Walking only challenges one of them. The first system is your vestibular system. That's your inner ear. It tells your brain where your head is in space, especially when you move it. When you turn your head to look at something, or when you look up or down, your inner ear has to recalibrate instantly. But when you walk forward with your head facing straight ahead, this system is barely working. It's on autopilot. So when you do need to turn your head quickly, like checking for a car or looking for someone across a room, your brain hasn't practiced that challenge, and your balance can falter. The second system is proprioception. That's your body's ability to sense where your limbs are without looking at them. It's what lets you step over something without tripping or shift your weight to one side without thinking. Walking on flat ground doesn't challenge this system. It's the same motion over and over. So when you're suddenly forced to react, like stepping over a pet or catching yourself from a stumble, your proprioception isn't sharp enough to respond quickly. The third system is multi-directional strength. Most falls don't happen because your legs are weak when moving forward. They happen because your hips, your core, and your stabilizer muscles can't handle sideways forces, backward motion, or rotational shifts. Walking only trains forward motion. It doesn't prepare your body for the unpredictable, multi-directional forces that cause real-world falls. And here's the critical part. After 60, all 3 of these systems naturally decline. Your vestibular system slows down. Your proprioception gets less responsive. Your stabilizer muscles lose strength faster than your big muscle groups. And if walking is all you're doing, you're only maintaining the one system walking trains. The other 2 are quietly weakening. That's the gap. And that's what we're about to fix. All right, let's start with the first move. It's called Tandem standing with head turns, and it's going to train your vestibular system, your inner ear balance, in a way walking never does. Here's how to do it. Stand up straight. If you have a balance mat, step onto it. If not, just use a flat surface. It works fine. Now, place one foot directly in front of the other. The toes of your back foot should just touch the heel of your front foot, or get as close as you can. This is called a tandem stance. It's like standing on a tightrope. Once you're in this position, hold it. Keep your posture upright. Now, slowly turn your head one way. Hold for a second, then turn your head the other way. Keep your body still. Only your head moves. Do this 5 times in each direction. As you get more comfortable with this over the next few days, you can increase the speed at which you turn your head. But start slow. Control is more important than speed. Now, here's what's happening inside your body. Your inner ear is sending signals to your brain about where your head is in space. At the same time, your eyes are sending different signals because they're seeing the room move. And your feet are sending signals about the narrow base of support you're standing on. Your brain has to reconcile all 3 of these inputs in real time to keep you balanced. That's the challenge. And that's exactly what prevents falls in real-world situations. Walking forward with your head straight doesn't create this challenge, but turning your head while standing still does. And that's why this move is so powerful. Now, let me talk about safety for a second. If you felt wobbly during that, or if you couldn't hold the tandem position at all, that's completely okay. It's actually a good sign because it means we've identified a weak system that we can now strengthen. If you need support, stand next to a sturdy chair or a countertop. Keep one hand lightly on it. You're still getting the benefit of the head turns and the challenge to your vestibular system, even with support. And if standing in tandem feels too difficult right now, you can practice the head turns while sitting upright in a chair with your feet flat on the floor. Turn your head slowly side to side. You're still training your inner ear. Then, as you get stronger, you can progress to standing with support, and eventually to standing without support. The goal isn't to do this perfectly on day one. The goal is to challenge your system safely, and then let your nervous system adapt over time. That's how balance improves. Small, consistent challenges. Let's move to the second exercise. The second move is called stepping over objects, and this one trains something walking completely misses: your ability to lift your feet high and control your step. Here's how to set it up. Stand with your feet hip-width apart. Now, place small objects on the floor in front of you: books, rolled towels, or even strips of tape, spaced about 2 feet apart. You want 3 or 4 objects in a row. Once you have your objects in place, here's what you're going to do. Walk forward and step over each object, alternating between your legs. But here's the key. When you step over the object, try to place your heel on the floor first, before lowering the rest of your foot and your toes. This heel-first landing is critical. It trains your proprioception and your shock absorption. If you need support, do this exercise next to a long countertop. Keep one hand lightly on it as you step. You're still getting the full benefit of the movement. Now, let me explain why this works. When you walk on flat ground, your foot clearance is low. Your brain doesn't have to lift your feet very high. But in real life, you encounter curbs, rugs, cords, pets. And if your brain isn't practiced at lifting your feet high and landing them precisely, that's when you trip. This exercise teaches your brain to lift higher and land softer. It also trains your eyes to coordinate with your feet. You're looking at the object, your brain is calculating the distance, and your muscles are executing the step. That's proprioception in action. And here's the other benefit. The heel-first landing mimics the natural gait pattern your body is supposed to use. But many people, as they age, start landing flat-footed or toe-first because they've lost confidence in their balance. This exercise retrains the correct pattern. Now, if you felt unsteady during that, or if you have knee pain that made it hard to step high, here's what you can do. Start by marching in place. Lift your knees as high as you comfortably can, one at a time, while holding onto a chair. This trains the same lifting motion without the added challenge of stepping over an object. Then, when you're ready, progress to stepping over very low objects, like a thin book or a line of tape. Then gradually increase the height as you get stronger. The important thing is that you're training your brain to lift your feet higher than walking ever requires. That's the protective benefit. That's what keeps you safe in the real world. Let's move to the third exercise. The third move is called the clock reach. This one trains multi-directional balance, something walking forward will never give you. Here's how to do it. Stand next to a sturdy chair and hold on to the back of it. Now, I want you to visualize a clock on the floor in front of you. You're standing in the center of that clock. Start by extending your right arm directly out in front of you. That's 12 o'clock. Keep your arm straight. Now, move your arm around to the right side. That's 3 o'clock. Feel your body shift slightly as you reach. Now, try to reach as far backwards as you can, towards 6 o'clock. Go as far as you can while staying balanced. That's one full reach. Now, return your arm to the starting position and switch sides. Extend your left arm to 12 o'clock. Then move it around to the left side, 9 o'clock. Then reach back towards 6 o'clock as far as you can. That's one complete round. Do this 3 times on each side. And remember, you're holding the chair the entire time. That's your anchor. Now let me explain why this move is so important. In real life, you don't just move forward. You reach for things on shelves. You bend down to pick something up. You turn to grab something behind you. And every one of those movements shifts your center of gravity in a different direction. If your stabilizer muscles and your core aren't strong enough to handle those shifts, that's when you lose your balance. This exercise trains your body to reach in multiple directions while staying stable. It strengthens your core, your hips, and the small stabilizer muscles around your ankles and knees. and it teaches your brain to anticipate and control those shifts in balance before they become false. Walking only trains forward motion. This trains everything else. Now, let me address something you might have noticed. When you reached back towards 6 o'clock, you probably felt the most wobble. That's normal. Reaching backwards is the hardest direction for most people because it requires the most core control and the most trust in your balance. If you felt unsteady, or if you couldn't reach very far back, that's okay. That's your starting point. Here's how to modify this if you need to. If reaching back felt too challenging, start with just 12 and 3 o'clock on one side and 12 and 9 on the other. Don't reach back yet. Keep both hands on the chair for support. As you get stronger over the next week or two, you can start adding the backward reach, little by little. And here's the other key. You don't need to reach as far as someone else. This isn't a competition. The benefit comes from challenging your own balance, not from hitting some arbitrary distance. Your brain adapts to the challenge you give it. So meet yourself where you are and push just a little bit further each time. That's how balance improves. Small, consistent challenges. Now let me tie this all together and explain exactly why these 3 moves beat walking. Walking trains endurance and cardiovascular health. That's valuable. But balance requires 3 things that walking doesn't provide. First, it requires your vestibular system to stay sharp when your head moves independently of your body. The tandem stance with head turns trains that. Second, it requires your proprioception to react quickly to unexpected obstacles and shifts in terrain. Stepping over objects trains that. And third, it requires multi-directional strength, the ability to stabilize yourself when forces come from the side, the back, or at an angle. The clock reach trains that. When you combine all 3 of these movements, you're giving your nervous system a complete balance workout. And here's the key. Your nervous system adapts to the specific challenges you give it. If you only walk forward, your nervous system gets really good at forward motion. But if you challenge it in multiple directions, with head movements, and with dynamic obstacles, it gets better at everything. That's why this routine works. It's not magic. It's specific, targeted training for the systems that actually prevent falls in real life. So here's what I want you to do. Practice these 3 moves twice this week. Do them slowly. Do them with whatever support you need. Your goal isn't perfection. Your goal is to challenge your nervous system and let it adapt. After this week, commit to doing these 3 moves once a week for the next month. That's it. 10 minutes, once a week. You can do them in the morning, in the evening, whenever works for you. Just stay consistent. And here's what you'll notice. The first time, you'll probably feel wobbly. You might need a lot of support. But by week 3 or 4, you'll notice that you're more stable. You'll need less support. And that wobble you felt at the beginning, that's your nervous system learning. That's exactly what we want. Before you go, I want to hear from you. Did you try these moves? Which one felt the most challenging? Leave a comment and let me know. If you felt wobbly on the tandem stance, comment tandem. If stepping over objects was hard, comment step. If the clock reach was the toughest, comment clock. I read every single comment, and I want to know where you're starting from. And if you found this helpful, subscribe to the channel. Next week, I'm going to show you why feeling dizzy when you stand up is a hidden balance problem that most people ignore, and the one simple trick that fixes it fast. Thank you for being here. Now go practice these moves. Your balance will thank you.